Hey, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be in this beautiful planet of ours. This is Metaphysical Meetup with Marc live here on Fridays on the Intuitive Prospector page here on Facebook Live. Good morning to you. If you're just joining us, grab your coffee, grab your tea. Let's have a conversation about balance. We're also going to have a conversation about how we keep moving, how we keep swimming, especially when life throws us curveballs. And I know that we've all been there. So we're going to be talking. I'm going to give you a study that was done that I was reading through, and it was a study done back in the 50s at Harvard. And I was like, oh, that's actually a really good message to share with the prospectors. So grab your coffee, grab your tea. I got my new Kraken mug. Pretty cool, huh? Pretty slick. Um, and you'll notice that I'm wearing a balance. I like this. I call this a balance outfit. We've got Mickey, whether you agree with Disney or not. Don't get into the weeds of that. But Disney brings joy and inspiration. We've been all touched by the movies throughout the years. Especially now that Star Wars is resonating on or streaming on Disney Plus, right? But it's about balance, about how we look at the good things of life. And then I've got my dark side hat on tonight or today to talk about the balance that there's dark things in our planet as well. And it's the dark things and it's the light things and it's the balance of, what we like to say in spiritualism as a spiritualist, it is our ability to be flexible, to observe, not absorb all the stuff that's going on in the world. And there is a lot of stuff going on in our world, and there's more coming. If you followed my journey, you can follow more about who I am and what I do and why what I do at marklainhart.com. I said that our roaring 20s were going to be a decade of transformation, a decade of divide, a decade of ascension, evolution, but also setbacks during this next decade, these next 10 years. And I've always said, because I'm a student of history and I love to learn from history because history teaches us about who we are today. And I had said years during the pandemic that we wouldn't go back to normal because normal wasn't working for a lot of people around the globe. And I also said that if you go back and you look throughout history, that after a global pandemic takes place, and we've had them, we had one 100 years ago that started again in Seattle, the great influenza flu, just like 100 years later, COVID-19 started right here just in 8 miles away from me. But when we look at pandemics, after the globe is impacted by a pandemic, society shifts and there's renaissances that are born, whether it's the digital transformation, whether it's the age of AI, whether it's the age of robotics. Just like the internet came in, there was a lot of concern about the internet and us being all connected, and there are some concerns, but it transformed us, and that's what's happening. It was interesting because there's a study that came out talking about how isolated that we are. We don't have a lot of friends or our families. We're not connecting because we've connected now through the digital, through the smartphone, right? The smartphone is really, there's a lot of debates on what it's doing to the younger generations. And again, this is part of, instead of spiraling, I always say, instead of spiraling, going round and round, turn that and start to evolve, right? The spiral goes like this. And if we just, the lesson repeats until it completes, or what we resist persists, flip that so you start evolving up, because that's what evolution looks like. And we're working through our technology, y'all. It's a matter of balance, the good that's going on that we can look for in the day, but also the bad that's going on, the dark side. So I'm intentionally wearing this outfit today for those reasons. So thank you for joining me here. We're live Fridays, most Fridays. I've got I'll have to say that I've got one more Friday. One more Friday, and then I'll probably be off because I'm actually having major surgery for my low spine. So I'm going to be out for a little bit. I'll try to be back on, depending on how I feel, the following week or the week after. But talking about robotics, talking about AI, I'll be honest with you. I'm anxious. I'm nervous. When anytime you're dealing with your spine and having your spine fused and lifted and your vertebrae replaced, that's concerning. But I've also learned to set the intent. I'm not going to sit and worry about it right now because I can't do anything, right? And we as humans love to have worry and drama and fear. My surgery's on April 17th. I've placed my surgery there. I'm going actually up today, later this afternoon, to meet with the surgeon, ask him questions. but I'm placing my worry and my concern, my anxiety there because there may not, I could go up today and die in a car accident, right? It's, and I never made April 17th, right? So it's about coming back to the power of now, being in the present moment. And I say that because we just had a horrible accident here just a few miles away in Renton. A young kid, 18-year-old kid was, I don't know why he was going 112 miles an hour, but I saw the video and they said, this is what 112 miles an hour looks like. He ran through an intersection and hit a minivan and killed 4 people. So you don't know what the day is going to bring, right? My heart goes out to those families and friends and the people that made their transition over in such a horrible way. At least that they got T-boned. They didn't know what hit them. It was like, well, you're here 1 minute, and then next thing you know, you're waking up on the other side, and you've actually passed from the physical matter body into the spiritual side. And that's what it reminds me. You don't know what the day was going to bring. So I've placed my surgery on April 17th, and that's where I'll put my worry and anxiety when I get there. But they're going to use robots, right? He's going to use a robot to go in through my hip to replace my L4, L5 fusion. And I think that's kind of cool. I hope they video it because I'd love to watch it. And I'm kind of going to be the guinea pig, but it's going to help me out because I've been struggling for severely with pain for the last year. And even the surgeon said I probably should have had this surgery 5 years ago, but the technology is there. The medicine is there. The AI is helping us. I got to witness with the intake yesterday. I did my pre-op stuff. There was some AI stuff that's going on with our text messages and how we communicate. And you're seeing that in the healthcare. So there are good things that can come as we proceed, as we advance, but we have to have the balance, right? Life is a balance. It's the yin and the yang. It's the mind and the heart. It's the Mickey Mouse and the dark side, right? And life is about a balance of what we're doing. So if you haven't subscribed, I do want to announce today is Diamonds Day. So for my subscribers, if you're a Diamonds Hub subscriber, you can go to the Intuitive Prospector page right now, click on the subscribe. It's $4.99 a month. And at the first Friday of every month, I set up a Zoom room. So you can only get that link if you subscribe to the page. There's going to be two Zoom links. The first one will be at 11 or 11:30. I can't remember. I'll get there when I get there. But on the page for my prospectors, my Diamonds Hub subscribers, there will be two links, both this morning Pacific Standard Time and this afternoon Pacific Standard Time, because it helps me reach more people. But you can come into the Zoom room and we can do a Q&A. I limit it depending on how busy I get. I'll limit to about 5 to 10 minutes, depending on what your questions are. If you want a healing, if you want prayer, if you want inspiration, if you want intuition, if you want to talk with a loved one, we can always open up to mediumship. I'm always happy to do that. Always happy to serve. So Diamonds Hub subscribers, Patreon prospectors, today, if you were the subscribers on any of those pages, and you'll know because you can only get to those through those pages. Today's Diamonds Day. So the first Friday of every month, I open it up for morning session, afternoon session. And it's a great way just to get some insight. If you're curious about something, it's a lot cheaper, put it that way, if you're a Patreon prospector or a Diamonds Hub subscribers. And it's just my way to give back and open up, a day of setting time, setting intent to be in service to help people. So it is Diamonds Day. So if you're my subscribers, I'll see you here after today's show is over. In the Zoom room or later this afternoon. I'll probably be on the road because I'm having to go up for my scheduling for my surgery, and I'll be probably coming back from that. But I'll open up the Zoom room if you want to jump in. If for some reason there's technology, because it is Mercury retrograde, y'all. If you have a technology issue, just let me know. Private message me or send me an email. Go to marclainhart.com. You can generate an email from there and say, hey, Marc, I was in the Zoom room. Because sometimes you know how technology works. I had an issue yesterday. I was doing a reading for a young gentleman down in California, and we were having some issues, or he was having some issues with his laptop. We finally worked it out, but I'm like, I've been doing this long enough. I know when retrograde is in effect because it impacts technology. It's very interesting, from my podcasts to these shows to my readings. When there's a Mercury retrograde going on because everything just doesn't seem to work. It doesn't seem to click, doesn't seem to flow. And on top of that, from an astrology standpoint, next Monday, which is going to be the 8th, we're on a new moon, and we're also going to have that eclipse. It's going to be seen around the globe. So there is a lot of energy and a lot of transformation. And for some of you that are empathic or very sensitive, you may be feeling that boiling up, that building up. That's very natural. If you look at not just the physical matter world, but you look at the spiritual energy, vibration, frequency world. Everything that Nikola Tesla talked about, the universe, is based on energy, based on frequency, based on vibration. And it's an interesting journey. But when you become aware, awareness is your greatest agent for change. And if you can just learn to move into more of the observation versus the absorption and the balance of who we are, whether it's you enjoy Disney or you enjoy the dark side, we both, as humans, we have both, right? There is part of the human journey, part of the human consciousness is awareness of the light side and the dark side, the angel and the devil, the ego, the higher voice, right? Just watched a show on Apple TV called The New Look, and it was based on Coco Chanel and Christopher Dejour, who did the dresses. And part of his inspiration during the series, I think it was an 8-part series, excellent series during World War II, and people that aligned with the Nazis and people that stood against the Nazis, and how fashion came back after World War II. And in one of the episodes, Christopher's brother, as an upcoming designer and perfume maker, talked about who we are, the light and the dark. And then, not to give it away, but he ended up designing some of his dresses based on the balance of the darkness and the light. And that's what we need to become aware of. So today, when I was thinking, when I was meditating, before I got ready, I was thinking, what can we talk about? And it came across about how we tread water. So you may be feeling like you're just treading water right now. There's just a lot. I've been meet with my clients, and I'm finding through my clients, and even in my spiritual development group SDG, there's a lot of unknown. There's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of anticipation. Not anticipation for what, we don't know, but we can feel that. Even some depression. A lot of people have a lot of things going on. And so for this morning on Metaphysical Meetup, we're going to talk about how we just keep swimming, right? How life continues to, maybe for some of you, life has just kicked you right in between the legs or slapped you upside the head. I know it's done that to me for the last 10 months. I've made serious transformations in what was my professional career after 23 years in the federal government, no longer working for the man, moving more to write my next book, working to continue to make Inspired Living a syndicated show that's listened to from inspired listeners around the globe. I do want to give a shout out to the listeners, the inspired listeners, because we're now on 2 top lists, best spiritual list for podcasts and best inspirational list for podcasts. And there's some pretty big names on this list. I'm nowhere in the top of the list, but just to be mentioned and have the work recognized, both for myself, my guests, and my team that are behind the scenes, I thank you, because it's showing that the show is resonating, and it's getting out there, and people are listening. We have a new show coming up next Wednesday. We'll be up with a new show. So if you want to check that out, you can get it here, anything at marklainhart.com, or go to our Facebook page, Inspired Living Radio and Podcasts. We're also over on X, formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram under Inspired for Us. That's the number 4. So you can follow that upcoming shows that we have for April. So it'll be very inspirational. And then again, thank you to you YouTube followers. The YouTube channel has grown to now over 11,000 subscribers. I don't know what y'all did, but I appreciate it. Thank you. The new show will be up here at the top of the hour. After this show's done, that show airs over on my Soul Adventures YouTube channel if you want to check that out. Again, everything is right here at marklainhart.com. So let's talk about this study that was done by Dr. Kurt, I think it's pronounced Richter, Richter. It was during the 1950s, and it was at Harvard University. And I love, as a spiritualist, there's a lot of religions out there. Spiritualism is not one of those religions that my religion's right, yours is wrong. There's 5,000 different religions and gods, and people squabble that my religion is more right than you. No, spiritualism, we accept everybody. We have all perspectives. And, when you follow my journey or my shows, my podcast, I always say it's like a smorgasbord, a buffet. We lay things out and you pick and choose what you want. But in the end, it's all inspirational. It's all good. It's all motivational. And as a spiritualist, we learn to shift our perspective. But what I love about spiritualism is it also works with science, right? Science is very important because we're evolving. We're going through some big changes in our society through technology, through medicine, through communications, through travel, through awareness of our universe. There are going to be things that are going to continue to be mind-boggling. Flying cars, robots that serve you, robots that do surgery on you. It's an exciting time, but it's also a very uncertain time because we don't know necessarily how we're embracing our technology. But it's like drinking from a fire hose with everything coming on, from the social media to the news cycles, 24-hour news cycles, to whatever is going on in your life, your alerts, your career, your relationships, right? It's just, it can be overwhelming, right? And so when we're swimming or we feel like we're drowning in information or drama or worry, how do we keep going? And so I came across this study back in the 1950s, and it was this doctor Richter that placed rats in a pool of water to test how long they could actually tread water. Now, before you jump on me, because again, social media, my platforms are for positivity. I know some of you are like, what? They're drowning rats? That's cruel. That's mean. Yes, it is, but it's also part of science, because bear with me, because there's a good outcome to this. So he would take these rats in the laboratory and he'd put them in the water, and he would test to see how long they could actually swim and tread water, right? And you're like, well, why would they do that? Well, science does some interesting things, but as we've talked before, we know from a scientific standpoint that if science is supported by mathematics and equations that actually prove science to be fact, but as of right now we only have about 4% of the science we've actually proven, not theory, not hypothesis, not opinion, but proved scientific method facts supported by mathematics. That's 97, 96%, 4%, right? That we've only discovered 4%. That means there's about 96% we have not yet discovered or become aware of in science. And that's a whole nother discussion. Just like we know more about our moon than we do our own oceans, right? The planet is covered by 70% of the water, but yet we've only discovered, it varies between 7 and 15% of the ocean, but 15% of the entire ocean is nothing, right? So there's just so much more that we're going to continue to learn and grow as we go through our roaring 20s of transformation, of evolution, of ignorance, of knowledge, of divide, of coming together. And it's science that's going to help us get there as well, right? Because like I said, 4% is not much. So as they were doing this study, on average, the rats would be placed in this water. They would tread water for about 15 minutes, right? And then they would start to sink. Now, I don't know. I don't think they let them die. I don't know. That's not in the study. But right before they gave up due to exhaustion. Okay, yeah, here we go. Right before they gave up due to exhaustion, and some of us are very exhausted, right? Some of us have just been swimming in life, and life is an acronym, and learn it from experience. And sometimes those experiences are overwhelming, and we need a break, we need a timeout, and we're just exhausted, and we feel like we're sinking. Some may call that rock bottom, but I've learned that when we hit rock bottom, it's rock bottom that can teach us more about ourselves and our world than the mountaintops ever could, right? And you can only go up from rock bottom. So if you're feeling like you're sinking, you're exhausted, life has just thrown so much at you, whether it's loss of life, loss of a family member, a fur baby, a friend. I get to consult with everybody on this journey, and it can be overwhelming at times. But what they did is right before the rats would start to sink from exhaustion, the researchers would actually reach in, pluck them out, dry them off, let them rest for a few minutes, and then put them back in for a second round. Now, again, I know some of you are thinking, well, that is just damn cruel. It is, and science can be cruel. But this is what was interesting to me. And I think for the message today, for us, is there are times when we are exhausted and we're sinking. And whether you believe in something bigger than yourself, I'll leave that to you. I personally know, with the thousands of readings I've done and the people I've worked with around the world, there is a higher consciousness. Some call that God, some call that the Great Spirit, some call that Allah. Depends on where you're at in the world, right? But I know that there is love and consciousness beyond the physical matter through the power of death. And sometimes we need our spirit entourage or God or that great spirit or the great universe to reach in and pick us up and take us out from our exhaustion and dry us off, but then put us back in, because that's what life is. Life is a vampire, right? Life will continue to this world will rotate, and things will continue to take place, right? So what happens is, as they drew them out of the water, dried them off, let them rest for a little bit, and then put them back into the water, what was interesting was, in the second try, they measured how long they could last, right? And remember, they had just swam until failure or till exhaustion, only just a few minutes before that, right? They only just gave them a few minutes. And then, I'm going to ask for in your comments. I see some of you joining in this morning. I'll give you some shout outs. So thank you to my team of administrators and moderators that keep our community positive and inspirational and monitor negative comments or people that want to come in and spam. Don't do that. You'll get knocked out of the community, blocked, and not welcome back, because we try to keep social media positive. That's what my focus has been my focus for a couple of years now. Because there's just so much divide, and we don't need that. We can usually find things that we can agree upon, probably more in life than what we disagree on. So good morning to my moderators. Good morning to my top fans. Good morning to my Patreon prospectors, and good morning to my Diamonds Hub subscribers. I appreciate you. So based on what I've told you, on this second try, when they put the rats in after exhaustion, they on average lasted 15 minutes. So after the exhaustion, let them rest, dry them off, put them back in. Second time, how long do you think they lasted? So what's your comments? Hi, Tara. Hi, Jane. Hi, Denise. Hi, Claudia. Good morning to my mom. Jill. Good morning, Chrissy. Good morning, Laura. Good morning, Tara. Caroline. Good morning, Miss Sandbrooks. Good morning to Dot. So I see a couple. So just kind of tune into your own intuition. What's the average? If the average the first time around was 15 minutes, do you think they lasted longer, or do you think they lasted less than 15 minutes? Because this is what's interesting. Because remember, they had just swam on average for 15 minutes until failure, exhaustion. Scientists reached in, grabbed them out of the water, let them rest, dried them off, and then put them right back in the water. What do you think, y'all? Longer than the second time. Okay, good. Anybody else? I'll just enjoy my coffee here. I didn't take the price tag off. This is an expensive mug. Got to pay for the new Kraken team, I guess, right? Anybody else? Longer. Colleen. Good morning, Colleen. Good to see you. Yep, longer. Okay, so longer. Anybody else? A few minutes longer, they became a bit more resilient. Okay, good, Denise. Good. Anybody else? That's tagging along with me today. It's Diamonds Day, so there'll be some readings coming up in the Zoom rooms for my subscribers, and I'll do a few readings here before I end, before 11. Hi, Jenny. Jenny Fisher is watching. Good to see you. Hope you're well. Happy Friday to everybody. So I'm asking, how long, based on this study that was done in 1950s at Harvard University by Dr. Kurt Richter, he tested how long rats could swim before exhaustion. And on average, most rats got to about 15 minutes. Then they'd pull them out upon complete exhaustion, where they're literally sinking to the bottom, like they've given up, death is imminent. Reached in, pulled them out, dried them off, let them rest for a couple minutes, and then put them back in the water. So my question to you this morning is, or this afternoon or this evening, because I know we have viewers from all over the world, did they last less than 15 minutes, or did they last longer than 15 minutes? Because the analogy I want to give to you is what doesn't kill you does make you stronger. And even though we feel like we're drinking from a fire hose, I think Denise had said, they became more resilient, right? And we're on the right path, right? Jen said, I'm just jumping in. I missed the question. So I'm talking about these rats that were in a glass of in water. They would swim until about 15 minutes, and then they would sink, and then the scientists would reach in and pull them out, dry them off, put them back in, and see how long they could actually keep going, right? So was it another 15 minutes? Was it 10 minutes? Was it 5 minutes? Was it less? Was it longer? So that's what I'm asking everybody today in the community, because it's a lot with what life does to us. I know it's done it to me, and I know if it's done it to me, it's done it to you. But what it has taught me, when life knocks us down, when life kicks us in between the legs or slaps us up the backside of the head, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. It's like when you cut yourself, right? I know I've cut myself several times. I got 2 scars above my eyes, some on my knees. I'm going to have a big one here on my hip in a couple of weeks. But those heal back. They heal, but they heal back, and they're stronger. That's why it's called scar tissue. The scars, actually, the skin becomes more resilient, right? It becomes stronger. So anybody else want to take a guess before I give the answer of what the study revealed? 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 5 minutes, less? Last call. Anybody? Spray some lavender loves. Got Brent making a new spring batch that I sell locally here at the store. Help with aromatherapy. Shift spray of energy called Lavender Love while I'm waiting. Good question. It would make sense that they'd last longer the second round in. Yeah. So everybody, but I'm looking for how much longer. So I'll give you those that have said longer. You're correct. the rats would be dropped in the water the second time and they would last longer. But how much longer? Because this is important for today's message about resilience, about not letting life getting you down, knowing that if you're at rock bottom with things that you've gone through, maybe you've lost your job or you've transitioned out of your job like I have after 23 years in the federal government. That transition, I didn't anticipate nor I didn't welcome it, but it was put upon me, right? Things in life come upon us, and it's about how we respond to it or not respond to it. And sometimes we feel like we're that drowning rat that we're just sinking, and sometimes we need to have somebody reach in, whether it's your church or your community or your best friend or your family or your fur babies, to reach in to pull us out so we can keep going, because it is about resilience. So Chrissy says 20 minutes, and now it was 15 the first. Yep. I say not much because it's still hard and giving up is easier. Yes, it is. It is easier. And some people do give up. Denise says about double the time, maybe 30 minutes. Okay. Hey, good morning, Michelle. Samantha, good morning to you. She's saying twice as long. Jenny Fisher says 5 minutes longer. Okay. Yep. Colleen says 25 minutes longer. Great guesses, but none of you are even close to, and I like what, Jenny Fisher said about it's easier giving up. And I personally know people that have given up in life. They've lost their purpose. They've lost their passion. They have no plan for life. I work and consult with a lot of people. I worked with a gentleman this week that just didn't know where to go. And sometimes we don't need to go anywhere because the world out here is not going to provide that information. It's not going to provide the guidance. You can have a lot of people tell you things. And I tell this to my clients, if you've worked with me, or my students, that I can tell you one thing, but at the end of the day, it's about your trust and your intuition and your free will and choice. And the only way out is actually in. The answers are within here, in here, down here. This is where your answers lie, not out here. And it's about how can you keep going? What is your resilience? If you feel like you're drowning, if you feel like you're struggling, trust me, I can say this because I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. And, it's only been through trusting, through meditation, through prayer, through forgiveness, through healing, through counseling, biofeedback, hypnotherapy. To this day, I seek counseling to help me gain perspective. So the right answer is, good morning, Wendy. The right answer is 60 hours. So they went from 15 minutes of struggling, and after 15 minutes, gave up, started sinking. Scientists reached in, pulled them out, dried them off, let them rest, put them back in the same tank. Only a few minutes of rest, and that's not an error. I'm not saying this in error. It was 60 hours, not 60 minutes, 60 hours. Think about that. That's just crazy. So they swam for 60 hours on average after the first time of 15 minutes, 60 hours, and then started to give up the struggle. And then I'm sure they didn't kill the rats. I'm sure they pulled them out after they started to sink again. But think of that. Some of us in life, 15 minutes seems like an eternity. Imagine what 60 hours. I don't know if they were just floating on their backs or, what they were doing. Oh, Spirit's calling. Let me turn that down here. That's my business line because I was doing a reading before. So the conclusion was drawn was since the rats believed that they would eventually be rescued, they could push their bodies way past what they previously thought impossible. So whatever your belief is very powerful, whether it's prayer, thought going out, whether it's meditation, thoughts coming back in to listen to what you're asking for. But belief is everything, because without belief, whether you believe in a higher power, believe in the other side of the spiritual world, believe in God, that's fine. It's your journey. It's not me to tell you what it is. I work with agnostics, I work with atheists, and I work with true believers. There are times that I'm agnostic and I do this work and I see some of the amazing stuff that the spirit world can do. Last night's reading I had, Spirit World Mom came through with some just amazing stuff that I always just say, you can't make this shit up. You can't guess it. You could, but you'd have to be a really good guesser. There's something into the intelligence of the communications that take place. So yeah, so 11:30 will be the Q&A community for my Patreon prospectors and my Diamond Sub subscribers. So I got an alert that just dropped in. So I'm like, oh, it's 11:30 today. So that Zoom room, you can get the links off the Patreon page. Everything is here at marklainhart.com or over on the Diamond Sub subscribers. Those links are at the top in the announcements. And then you can come in and have a Q&A with me. But 60 hours was because they believed something changed from the 15 minutes. They pulled out, put back in, and then something consciously within the rats, we're talking about rats, we're not even talking about humans, they were able to believe that they would eventually be rescued and went for 60 hours. To me, that's inspirational. To me, that's encouraging. And so, it's the word impossible. I hear that a lot. Mark, I can't do that. That's great, but no, your thoughts become words, words become energy and vibrations, and these become your actions become your habits become your destiny. So your focus does determine reality. So be careful of what your thoughts are telling, your words, because you follow those two constructs, right? And what the doctor said in this is, I'll leave you with this thought. If hope can exhaust rats to swim for that long, what could a belief in yourself and your abilities do for you? And that word impossible, if we break the word impossible down and break it into two words, it becomes I'm possible. But we squeeze it together and it's something negative, impossible, right? And it's like the word disease. If we break the word apart, it becomes dis-ease. And a lot of us have a lot of dis-ease that transforms into disease. And we were talking in a group the other night, 85% of physical ailments are actually generated in the mind from a scientific standpoint. Think about that. 85% of physical illness is generated by the placebo effect or the nocebo effect of the mind. Neuroplasticity, new ways of thinking. We're learning about the brain every single day. And like I said, in this decade, the mind, you've got people being able to talk now with thought based on the brain connecting to the computer. The computers have brought that, and it's filled that evolution gap, the internet, social media. Now we're incorporating AI and robotics. If y'all want to check out a great series on Netflix, I just watched it. I'm going to watch it again. It's called Three Body Problem. It'll make you think. And I love things that are like The Matrix that make you think. Check it out. I'm going to probably watch it again because it's like when I first watched The Matrix and I walked out going, what the hell did I just watch? Did I watch a movie or did I watch a documentary? And then I went back and watched it again and was like, oh, that's very deep. That's very mind blowing. That's very spiritually aware. And this three body problem is creating a lot of buzz. And it's an interesting, it shows us, does art imitate life or does life imitate art? Right. And so, yeah, biography becomes biology. Oh, I like that one. Thank you, Jenny. That's interesting. Yeah. Hey, Devonda, Karen, good morning to you. Powerful message. FR McKinney, Ricky, hello to you. Denise says, oh, that's so sad. Poor little rat was really trying to survive. Yeah, they did. I don't know from the study. I don't think they let them perish. I think it was just more of the study. But if that can be done with a rat, why can't it be done with us as humans, right? And that's what science does. Science helps us to push past. You don't get to argue against science just because you don't understand it. There's a lot of people in today's world that just like to hear themselves speak with ignorance and speak out against science, even though they don't understand what they're talking about, right? And Plato always talked about people that claim to know it all know nothing at all. So I always claim that I don't know anything. I just share my soul adventures and my experiences to help you find the diamond within and the many diamonds all around. That's what my job has become now in life as I get ready to retire early from the federal government, go into surgery, have a new body, and come out, on the other side to see what's going to happen. Because that's what life is, right? It's the uncertainties, but it's also, waking up today to say thank you because you have today. I don't have to do this today. I'm thankful that I get to do this today. And that's what I try to remind myself every single day when I get to open my eyes. It's like, oh, some are like, it's life. Yeah, it is life, but we can learn a lot. We can grow a lot. And I talked about this on Sunday at the service I did, about what happens when we die. And what is our spiritual fortune? You can go check that video out on my YouTube channel if you want. When we die, what is our spiritual fortune? Because at the end of the day, I don't get to take any of this with me, including this physical shell, this flesh suit as a child of matter. My consciousness, my love, my memories, and everything that I've done in this life, both good, bad, and everything in between, moves on. And so it's a very interesting perspective, and it gives you, a different mindset of death, life, live, die, live again, right? And I didn't come to this just because I wanted to. It was life circumstances that were brought upon me years ago with the transformation of my brothers the same week, right? My brother was murdered. My younger brother was murdered. Older brother was diagnosed with terminal brain cancer. My wife's dad was succumbed to multiple sclerosis. And so those three events really started to get me to prospect. That's how I became the intuitive prospector and started the podcast, Inspired Living. Do recordings through Alexa for positive living. So if you want to open up your Alexa, you can say Alexa or your Audible and say, open up Inspired Living podcast or start positive living messages that I've recorded. I haven't had a chance to record the new ones, I'll be honest with you, because I've been so wrapped up in medical stuff and paperwork and transformation out of, a job that I've been doing for 23 plus years, getting ready for my surgery. But I hope to have those recordings done by this month or at least in May. So you can have new tips through your Alexa or Echo Pod. And it's called Positive Living. So because I've come to learn that this is temporary and everything I'm doing right now, talking to you, saying to you, is temporary. And if you think about eternity, that's what my life was just right there in eternity, right? And so if you can move into your belief and take impossible and turn it to I'm possible, if a rat can go 15 minutes and give up and then have the belief and go 60 hours, whatever your belief system is, trust that, tune into that, drill into that, accept that. Again, whether it's helping others, whether it's gratitude, whether it's prayer, meditation, whether it's getting out in nature, whether it's being in service to others, there's just so much chaos in our world and so much divide and politics and money and war. And it's like, no, take a time out from that and say, what can I do today to make a difference in the world with my energy, with my vibration, and even my little sphere of influence, right? So again, if hope can exhaust rats to swim for that long of 60 hours, what could a belief in yourself and your abilities here, why you're here, your purpose, your passions, your plans to get there, what can it do for you? Remember what you're capable of and remember why you are here. A lot of us forget why we're here, including myself for many years in the matrix, plowing the road, blinders on, working a 9 to 5, make all the money in the world to buy shit, to go into debt, and then die and not take any of it with me that I was in debt in the first place. So think about the importance and beauty of life, because that's what life is all about. Learn it from experiences. And there's no good or bad. There's just experiences. It's our perception of what is good and bad. But it is a balance of the dark side and the Disney side, right? So remember what you're capable of. Remember why you're here. And again, that was a study done in the 1950s. And it's today's message of when life has you down, you feel like you're drowning, go back to Finding Nemo and Dory. Just keep swimming, swimming. I wish I could play it, but it would be copyrighted and trademarked, so I can't do that. All the music that I play in my shows are already pre-approved by Meta, and YouTube, so I don't get in trouble or muted. But you can just sing that in your mind to yourself. Just keep swimming, 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 because that's what we need to do with life. It is easy to give up, like Jenny was saying earlier, but don't give up. There's a reason that you're here. And sometimes you need to prospect for that diamond within to understand the reason you're here, to find the many gems and the support that's all around you. And also know that just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not here. Technology shows us that. Wi-Fi shows us that. Electricity shows us that. The wind shows us that. We can see the effects of the wind, right? But we don't see the wind with our physical eye. And so the microscope, the telescope, the James Webb, everything is, we think we see it, not necessarily. And that's why I tell you, 3 eyes in life: 2 to look, 1 to see. And if you really want to open up this guy right here, the third eye, which is connected to the pineal gland in the brain, you do a little exercise that I do. You just take your thumb, put it on your chin, touch your nose with your index finger, right? Take your thumb, shift it up to your nose, and touch. That's where your third eye is. And you can just give it a nice little rub, like warming up a muscle before you run. You warm up your legs, right? You do some sit-ups. God, I wish I could do sit-ups again. You can warm up doing a counterclockwise motion of the third eye, and that can open you up and then go into a nice meditation, a healing, a prayer, whatever. And all of a sudden you're starting to tune into things of the universe that you never knew that was possible. And it just shows you what an amazing being the human body is, the auric field is, the energy in your heart, your consciousness, your intuition, all of that. So I hope that you'll prospect and continue to prospect with me here on Fridays, starting at 10 a.m. I know that in 15 minutes, the next show over on my YouTube channel is going to premiere. Again, thank you to the 11,000 subscribers. I don't know what happened, but I will. I appreciate you. So All right. So any questions? Let me just give some shout outs. Tara, hello. Colleen saying, wow, that's amazing. What? Wow. Yep. Yeah. I said the same. Hey, Ron. Happy Friday, Wendy. Hi, Victoria. Good to see some of you here. Thanks for hanging out with me today on Metaphysical Meetup. Let's see here. Uh, Penelope, hello to you. Jennifer, Adriana. Okay, some of you tuning in. All right, so I'll go ahead and open up for 15 minutes. I'm not going to do the Zoom room today, just for the fact at 11:30, if you're one of my subscribers, it's Diamonds Day. So if you're a Diamond Sub subscriber or a Patreon prospector, those pages, you know who you are. You can get to there by subscribing here at marklainhart.com. Once you subscribe to those pages, at the top in the announcements are the Zoom links for both the morning Zoom and the afternoon Zoom. And again, it's 11:30 Pacific Standard Time, 11:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for those that are on this time zone. And then I offer it, I open the Zoom room at 3 p.m. I think 3 p.m. Let me look. 3 p.m. Yep. So I'll be available in the Zoom room. That link in the passcode is always the year 2024. And you can come in and do a Q&A. It's a Q&A community. So I get everything from healing requests to Mark, what's my future going to be? Remember, the best thing about your future is it comes one day at a time. You plant the seeds today for the future you want tomorrow. I don't think anybody can consistently tell you what your future is going to be. We can get glimpses and road markers, but again, the road is always winding based on free will and choice. But it sometimes helps to have that guidance. I'm not going to tell you winning lottery numbers, otherwise I would have won the $1 billion that somebody just won last night if I knew that, because the spirit world doesn't care about money, right? I'm not going to prescribe or diagnose you. I'm not going to tell you when you're going to die, and that's not the type of work I do. I know some people do. I do not, as a professional. So if you have a question for me, go ahead and ask that question in the chat board. Again, keep your comments professional, keep them kind, compassionate, and caring. If we get any spam or people love to come in and like, come to my site for more accurate reading, that just don't do it. It's just like a spam call. You're going to get blocked. You're going to get deleted. Just don't do it. All right. So if I miss your question, put bump in your question again, because we get a lot of comments generated here within the hour. So let's see here. What did Chrissy, 60 hours, good grief. What if I come back involved in a different, I know, it's like, do I have to come back, right? All right. So Denise says, may I please have a card drawn from a deck of your choice? Thank you. You bet, Denise. And thank you, because I can see your badge next to you, so I know Denise follows the journey. Let's got my yin and yang balls. I work with these when I'm kind of tuning in. This morning here, what am I drawn to for you? For you, Denise. The cards are a little out of whack here. Let's go. I'm going to pick up the I Allow deck. So just take a deep breath, Denise. Set your intention, what that does, because everything, again, just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not here. Wind, Wi-Fi, energy, electricity, so on and so forth. Do the same thing. What I'll do is I'll just kind of put the energy into the deck of, this is the I Allow deck. So there's something you need to allow. And just take a deep breath. And I'll actually pick the card based on when I hear stop. Stop. And this is the card for Denise, who, if you look at Denise's name, she has a badge next to it. So she follows the work. And here you go. I allow myself to dream. I allow myself to dream. I allow myself to dream. Now, the owl is here, which represents wisdom. The dream catcher, the feathers, which represents hope. Journaling, dream journaling. That's what this crystal is above. These are all things. And dreams are very, very powerful, Denise. So make sure to dream journal, because a lot of us miss our dream scapes. Myself included. I need to be better at doing my dream journal. I actually had some pretty good dreams last night, but I didn't write them down. I've already forgotten them, right? But it's interesting to me from both a science standpoint and a spiritual standpoint. Just another reason I think that we're robots, because we have to shut down. You can't go more cognitively and consciously more than 2 to 3 days without sleep. You need sleep, right? Other the body becomes run down, broken, shuts down, what have you. And so it's interesting to me, when we go to sleep and do nothing, the brain fires at a multi-level event. Sleep studies have shown this, science has shown this. So we're connecting, but we're not doing anything, right? We're kind of just like, it's almost like we've unplugged. So in a sense, we're kind of like robots, like we shut down. I'm thinking of, C-3PO from Star Wars when they say, I'm going to go ahead and shut down and recharge, right? We do that. So in your dreams can be messages, can be guidance, can be inspiration. Some of the greatest stories and playwrights and music ever written have come through the dreamscape. I know the lady that did the Twilight series, she had contributed that to her dreams. She would start writing, and then the characters created were built upon her dreams. So for you, Denise, um, pay attention to that card. It's I allow myself to dream. Allow yourself, and literally say that to yourself. Set your intention, because we know that energy follows intention based off our thoughts, words, and actions. So I allow myself to dream, because there's something that you need to glean from that. Is through the dreamscape, and it's just another way of using your intuition to access information that's all around you. Right? Think about it. All the information we ever need to know, past, present, future, because spirit world doesn't represent time. Only humans do that, can be accessed and downloaded or uploaded. Think about technology in the cloud. We can do that as humans in our own Wi-Fi, which is our auric field. So how are you uploading or downloading? Through sleep, through meditation, through prayer, through exercise, through connection to nature, through different, it could be through sex, it could be through food, it could be through journaling, it could be through playing guitar, it could be through plant medicines. There's so many access points, and I'm challenging you to, as we go through this roaring 20s of transformation, to start opening your mind a little bit, because it's like a parachute. A parachute doesn't work if it doesn't open. The mind is the same way. So Jenny, Mark, you've already shared. If you've already shared about the upcoming eclipse, forgive me, but I'm chomping at the bit to receive your insights. Yeah, it's funny, because us as humans, and it's a great question, which is going to happen on the 8th. It's going to be globally, and you'll see it through social media. You'll see it through the media cycle. I know NASA's launching some rockets to observe it. We won't see it again for another 2 decades, I think they said. For me, because it's a Mercury retrograde, it's also the new moon on the 8th, according to my calendar right here. And this eclipse, this is all about, to me, this is all about transformation. This is all about ascension. This is all about, some people are going to be like, it's the end of the world. We were joking in a group the other day, because I posted a picture with a guy grabbing, like, things of milk and bread, and he's like, the eclipse is coming, it's the end of the world. And you'll have 30% of the population believe that, but you also from history know that 70% continue to progress, and it's not our first eclipse over the millions of years we've been here, right? So for me, it represents ascension, it represents transformation, it represents more unity, because we're looking at it from a global standpoint. It's happened to everybody, regardless of your religion, your what you look like, your sex, your political affiliation. It doesn't matter. It's happening, right? So for me, it's about ascension and transformation. It's also about that great coming together that I've seen for a long time. There will always be fear and gloom and doom and the apocalypse and the end of the world, because that's what sells, right? That think about Hollywood movies. But I don't feel like, if it was the end of the world, what are you going to do, right? You can't do anything about it, right? So you might as well celebrate the things in life that you appreciate. Be with your family, be with your friends, enjoy a good glass of wine, eat a good meal, get intimate with your partner. It's just, that's kind of where I look at. I look more now at life as through the prism of my soul adventures in life, of more of celebrating and being grateful for what I do have and what I'm in control of. And for me, I'm excited to see what this eclipse is going to be. But I also observe a society, right? Don't absorb all of it, but observe it, because there's always going to be people. Remember when the pandemic first hit? People were. I still don't get this, but remember when the toilet paper shortage happened because the pandemic was early be late in 2019 December, because I had first heard about it in 2019 when we were down in Mexico, that China was shutting down its borders, and they had their what they called China's Black Plague, and it was coming to America. And then, but around March, it did hit America. But if you remember, everybody was panicking, and all the toilet paper sold out. And I'm like, why are we worried about toilet paper? If it is the end of our society, because the world will go on. I can't guarantee that about humans, right? Because people are like, it's the end of the world. No, it would be the end of humans, not the end of Mother Earth. But it's like, I just laugh at that. Like, TP was the first thing to go, toilet paper. It's like, you don't need toilet paper. We've been doing life without toilet paper. I mean, it's more obviously more clean and more, but it's like, that was the first thing to go, was toilet paper, not shelter, not water, not food. So to answer your question, Jenny, and it's a great question, I think, and I believe from an astrology standpoint, from a spiritual standpoint, from an energy standpoint, for me, it represents healing, transformation, ascension, and more people coming together and being more open-minded. I think we're moving that way. But again, there'll always be there'll always be 30% of the population. Just go back and read history. You can read it. And I posted something today that, I don't think the struggle is about good and evil. Good and evil has always been here. There's always been the dark side and the light side, the Disney side, right? To me, today, with the information that we are able to obtain through our technology and our communications, it's really about knowledge versus ignorance. And I don't have the book out. I used to have it out here from Ulysses S. Grant. I read his memoir during the Civil War, and he'd always talked about the next Civil War would be not from the Mason-Dixon line, but it would be based on ignorance versus knowledge. And if you think about where we're at, social media has created an alternative reality where people do believe, and rightfully so, that people are entitled to their beliefs. They're not entitled to their facts, because fact is fact, but it's created realities where, people think the flat is Earth, that aliens are real or not real, or the Antichrist is here, it's not here, right? I just know, watch Three Body Problem just to give you perspective, but you got to wonder, are we in a matrix? Are we AI that's become sentient? Are we robots? Is there a bigger thing taking place, right? Are we a reality show for something, another species that's more intelligent? They're watching us like we watch ourselves during reality TV. It's just things to think about. But through all that, I think the eclipse is going to represent a new beginning, and it's happening right almost in the middle of our roaring 20s. So buckle up, get your sunglasses, don't look at it, get the right glasses, protect your eyes. But I believe in transformation, healing, and ascension are the three key words that I would use for that question, Jenny. A great question. Hey, Christina, good to see you, my friend. Happy Friday to you. I miss you. Wendy says, hi, Mark. I started a new position at work at the beginning of the year, healthcare industry, legal matters. Oh, boy. It's very mentally draining. Yeah, Wendy, well, congratulations on your new job. Is it worth hanging in there for better opportunities in the future? I think you already have your answer, my friend. I've been in healthcare. I was in oversight for 13 years in Inspector General's office of healthcare. So I've seen all the bullshit. I have seen all of the negligence. I have seen all of the yuck of what takes place in the healthcare industry. So there's a reason, and I'm glad that I'm being moved to retire early from the federal based on my medical, which I didn't know that was going to be the case 10 months ago. But I'm now grateful and I'm happy that has transpired, because when you're in oversight or you've worked in healthcare like I have for 25 years, you see the lowest of lows, what humans are capable of. And if you're doing legal matters on top of that, that's very straining. That's very stressful. For me, my challenge to you would be like, what do you want to do with the time you have left? Time is our greatest commodity, not money. I know we need money to survive. I'm not ignorant to that. I'm not naive to that. We need benefits. We need money to survive. We're the only species that pays to live here. But we also have that power, like I said, like the rat, to survive and swim 60 hours. We have that belief in ourselves, if we choose to find a new pathway that brings you joy and happiness and doesn't drain you, because at the end of the day, you're another day older, right? And at some point, that time runs out. So start asking yourself, what do you want to do with the time you have left? For me, as I started to transfer out after 23 years, 13 years in oversight, it just felt right. It was the right thing. I knew what I wanted to do. I did not like my job. I did not like the people I worked with. I didn't like the backstabbing. I didn't like the ego and the competitive. That's just not where I wanted to be. And so I started to set intentions about 5 years ago, really, because again, we're not on a timeline for us as humans. We want it right now. But when I look back now, 5 to 7 years, I have literally started that intent to where now it's the universe is working with me. It didn't happen to me. It happened for me to make that transition. Change is hard. Change is difficult. But again, it's all about your belief that I talked about today. And if you know that it's stressing you out, remember, stress does cause disease. There was a picture that I was just looking at talking about stress. Let me see if I can find it for you. Hold on. I found this picture from Mike Tyson. It says, social media made y'all way too comfortable with disrespecting people and not getting punched in the face for it. Quote from Mike Tyson. I came across that. And again, I post on my pages, Spiritual Beings Having Human Experiences, Soul Adventures, Inspired Living, the Intuitive Prospector page. I try to fill the social media voids, spaces with positivity, encouragement, things that make you laugh. I've got my hemp awareness community page now that you can join. So lots of pages to join. And the one that I was looking at, it talked about, here you go. Stress can destroy much more than just our physical health. Too often it eats away at our hope, belief, and faith. And that was Charles Glassman that said that just based on stress. And we know from a healthcare standpoint that stress is the number one killer of us all. So, Wendy, for you, I think you know what you need to do. It's more about having the belief and courage to make a change. The 3 C's in life: make a choice, take a chance, see the change, and have belief in yourself, right? So, that's what I'd say for you, Wendy. Um, you can hang in there for a better future, but the future's not guaranteed. Present moment. Come back to that thought of what can you do today? Plant the seeds today for the future you want tomorrow, is what I'd say to you. Hey, Chris Beeman, how are you? Kara, good to see you, my friend. You're welcome, Denise. The dream card resonated with me so well. I needed that message. Yeah, I find that to be true. That synchronicity, that coincidence. I talked about this at Sunday's divine service, which was kind of cool because I ended up, there was about 50 people in this at the service online for the Isle of Wight down, just it's an island just north of the UK, off the UK peninsula below London, south of London. And I did a 3 dog connection. Literally had 3 different dogs by breed come in, and all 3 of their owners had just put their fur babies down. So it's really cool. You never know what you're going to get. But I talked about synchronicity and coincidences because Einstein was very big talking about the synchronicities and coincidences are God's way of remaining anonymous to us. But there's a deeper resonance meaning there. We may not know what it is, but if Einstein knew about it, and we say it all the time, oh, that was just coincidental. Was it coincidental or synchronicity that I had 3 breeds of dog come into my mind and then had 3 different people that didn't know each other that just needed that message to know that their dog is okay, to know that they're always just a thought away, and for one of them, it was time for her to get a new fur baby. So that those messages resonate, um, Denise, at the time that you need it, right? And some of that, for those of you that follow the journey or have had a reading with me or received a reading, I always say, if I'm talking about something, remember it, because some of the best evidence comes after the reading based on intention, synergy, connection, and then you're like, oh, that's what Marc was talking about. So pay attention to that. Signs, symbols, synergy, synchronicities is what I teach on. But I'm glad that resonated. Do a dream journal, see what it gets for you. Hi, Rosaline Stewart, good to see you. Jenny says, love observe versus absorb. Yep, great nugget. Yep, that's what I'm all about. Nuggets, gems, and the diamond within. Hey, Brenda, good to see you. Okay, any other questions? Wendy says, wow, you're so right. We're so programmed to work on schedules, and I feel like a slave at times. We really are. I'm happy to be leaving. I've been associated with the federal government since the age of 22 when I did a delayed entry into the U.S. Coast Guard so I could finish my 2-year degree. So I've only known the federal government, and I'm excited to go in a different direction and still be able to survive in this world from a monetary standpoint. But just remember, y'all, we're the species that is so wrapped up by money, but we're the only species that goes out into nature, chops down the trees, turns it into paper, prints out money, prints out paper, writes on the paper, and posts it on a tree, save the trees. Think about all of that, right? We're going to have some serious conversations as we continue to evolve and descend and transform as AI replaces job. I was just talking with the healthcare on my pre-op yesterday about how AI is starting to come in. They're going to use a robot on my surgery, which they wouldn't have done 10 years ago. They would actually manually slice into me. They're going to slice into me through my hip, but they're going to use a robot to do the screws and everything. So it's kind of interesting. But we were talking about AI, and she said, well, where do the jobs go with AI, with robotics? And I said, well, I used to bag groceries back in the day at Safeway. We used to call it Slaveway back in the day, because you kind of like what you're saying, Wendy, that, feel like you're a slave to the system at times, right? The matrix. And I remember as a, what was my title? I was the paper or plastic guy. And I even had my ear pierced at that time, and I had to wear a Band-Aid over my ear because a guy couldn't have his ear pierced at that time. So this would have been like 1989, 1990, 89, 88. Yeah, because I was just working with Social Security. I'm like, what was the first contribute? Because I have to, with retirement, I have to work with Social Security as well. And he goes, yep, 1988. So it must have been 1988 because that's one of the first jobs I had besides Baskin Robbins and Denny's. But I was the paper or plastic guy. And so people would come through the groceries. You'd have a teller. The groceries would come in. I was like, would you like paper or plastic? Why, I wore a Band-Aid on my ear because I couldn't have an earring. And then I would give you the paper or plastic and help you out. Courtesy clerk, I think is what we call them, the Safeway courtesy clerk. And now if you jump to today, those jobs are gone. How many of you bag your own groceries? How many of you check out at a self-checkout, right? I just, yesterday when I was leaving the parking garage, it was all automated. I do my card. There's no attendance. So we're going to have a conversation, a serious conversation about universal income. Because if the jobs go away, and even though the job report came out today, there was more jobs created, like 300,000 new jobs. There'll always be jobs there, but it's the jobs that people don't want to do, right? And so we're going to, part of this decade of transformation I talked about, our roaring 20s, is going to be conversations on universal income. Because if you have a bunch of people that are not employed and more people getting rich by the day, that brings, history teaches us, that brings revolution, that brings civil war, that brings world war, because wars create money, wars create jobs, right? So it's a very interesting concept about where we're going with technology and transformation, and we have to work through that. So if you're feeling like you're a slave to that system, make a choice, make a change, take the chance. The 3 C's that I always teach on in life. So Christina says, hey, Adam, good to see you, my friend. How are you? Adam's joining us. He does a beautiful Sitting in the Power. If you want to connect to what I'm talking about, he posts on one of my pages, Soul Adventures, for Sitting in the Power. If you really want to learn to listen through the power of meditation, listening is the same word as silent. He does a great job of sitting in the power over in the UK. So if you want to check him out. So good to see you, my friend. You bet, Christina. May I have a card from the Oracle deck, please? Yes, let's go to Oracle. Hopefully don't knock over my book. All right. So as you know, Christina, take a deep breath, set the intention to receive the message you need to hear. This is the Oracle deck, or one of the Oracle decks that I work with. It's funny, I don't work with Tarot. I know a lot of people work with Tarot. I just don't. I never resonated with it. I've always just been different that way. Let me just tune into you. Let me hear the word stop. Stop. All right. So this is your card this morning, success and growth. The number 8, which I love. What's really cool about this card, Christina, the 8 is all about manifesting, business-minded leader. From a numerology standpoint, it's about creating the second reality. First reality is in your mind, and then what actions you do to create. And I know that you do beautiful artistic work with jewelry. In fact, I have some of your necklaces. I'm not wearing one today, but check her site out. She does really cool hats, really cool jewelry. But it's telling me this growth. Here's the tree, right? The growth, and what you've planted is starting to take root. And it's the number 8, which is this year, 2024. It's also the infinity, which is the journey, the ups and downs, the ins and outs of life. It's my favorite number because I'm a life path 8, but it's telling me, for you, just continue to do what you're doing and enjoy your success and growth with where you're going with your company and your relationships and your own journey in life. So it's a really great card for you. I'm happy for you. All right. Chrissy, you bet. Thank you for being a follower. You can see that Chrissy has a little badge next to her. Again, if you want to subscribe, you got to contribute to the page. The algorithms are not done by me. Facebook Meta does that. But if you share the page, contribute to the page, interact with the page, subscribe to the page, then that's how you start to generate the badges. And that's what I'm looking for. Star senders, Patreon prospectors, and Diamonds Hub subscribers. And so Chrissy is one of my followers. So thank you for the follow. May I please have a card from the deck of your choice? Let's just stay with the Oracle deck since I have it right now. So go ahead, Chrissy, and just take a nice deep breath. Set intention. Allow me to tune into you. Get that energy going. See, when we start to think bigger than ourselves, telekinesis, telepathy, not just physical, energy, frequency, vibration, stop. Ooh, the base chakra. So what is this all about? So the base chakra is the color red. So this, it's funny because this is where I'm having my surgery, believe it or not, in 2 weeks, L4, L5. But it's all about, seeing the card, how it has that triangle, this triangle right here. The triangle represents strength, unity. So it's about mind, body, and spirit of the human consciousness. And the base chakra is the color red. So if you can, if you jive with color red, wear the color red or get a red crystal. And what the vibrational tone for that, I believe, is it's the chakra itself is at the very base, right? It's the foundation. So think of it like a foundation, like a house. So it's the physical, everything physical, finance, sexuality. And so the The visual deep breath vibrational chant, I was just looking up because I do a lot of Sufi traditions, which comes from early times, is going to be the words of Lam, Lomm. So it would sound like this: Lam. And what you're doing is when you do a vibrational chant at the base chakra, the base of who you are, what that does is that vibration then can loosen up things. It can open up things, your mind, your heart, your claircognizance, which is down in your belly button, which is the psychic awareness. And so that Lomm, Lomm, is a Sufi tradition. And then you compare it to a vibrational, like this. This is this is the 532 hertz, which is healing. And for those of you that are watching, it may be new. You're like, well, this is so weird. It's not weird, y'all. It's actually ancient wisdom that we're actually tuning into that's been used for generations. So again, if you can get into that vibrational Lomm chant, that may help you and it might heal you, right? If you don't believe in the power of vibration, remember, without vibration, there is no this, just so you know, frequency and vibration. But go to YouTube and type in the sand table and vibration hertz. And what they do is they actually hook up a table, they pour a bunch of sand or salt, and then they hook it up with some prods and they connect to the 432 or the 532 hertz. And the table actually creates sacred geometry, like shapes, like triangles, like octagons. And then if they turn the frequency, you can actually see the table change in sacred geometry. So there is something to vibration. If they turn the vibration, if they turn the frequency up too high, everything becomes chaos. So there is a sweet spot based on science, based on vibration. There's no difference for you on the base chakra, Lomm. Color red, anything physical, sexual, relation, money, career, anything of the physical nature, you need to open that chakra. And most times, on average, we're about 2 to 3 chakras are closed. They spin clockwise, and if they're closed, they're not spinning; they're going counterclockwise. Kind of what we did with the third eye a little while ago. So, does that make sense for you, Chrissy? Great card for you, to be honest with you. Tara says, so one of my subscribers, you can see she's got a green heart, which means she's a subscriber. So she goes, could I have a card from the Oracle deck as well? You bet. All right, so I got 2 more. You're welcome, Christina. We're doing a new market this weekend for the solar eclipse. Fun. Enjoy that. So let's do a card for you. Same thing, Tara. Thanks for being a subscriber. Again, the room will be open. The Zoom room will be open in about 15 minutes for the Diamond Hub subscribers, the Patreon prospectors. If you're on the membership page, you can get those links off the membership pages. All right. So this is for Tara. Deep breath, my friend. Deep breath. Let me tune in. Same Oracle deck. Breath is very, very important. So much so, I believe in it. I got it tattooed right here. This is ancient Sanskrit, one of the most ancient symbols known, and this is all about breath. You can kind of see from the tattoo. Breath in, the journey of life, and what do we do before we transition over through death? We exhale. ... Right? So your card for you, Tara, simply love. This is an energy of the color green, which is all about the heart. The 6 energy from the numerology is all about compassionate for yourself and for others. But today, just simply love. Love for yourself, love for your fur babies, your friends, your family, the planet. Move into that place of love. And again, it's all tied to the heart chakra. So I don't know if the card represents 2 gentlemen in your life or a husband and a child, but there's also a book of knowledge that you can read. The sun, which is, we got an eclipse coming up, which is going to be part of the sun on Monday. But this just tells me to simply move into that love energy, because when we move into gratitude and love, there's a vibrational healing that takes place for us as well. So does that make sense, Tara? All right, Christina says, perfect card, Marc Lainhart, we are doing. I'm so excited. Makes sense. Okay. Kara, one of my other subscribers, thanks for being a subscriber. Kara, do you want a certain deck? You said, can I get a card, please? Do you want me to stay with the same deck, or do you want me to pick a different deck for you? You got 14 different decks. You can give me a number, too, if you want me to pick a number. So this will be last call for card readings, because I have to open up the Zoom room. Again, if you're a Diamonds Hub subscriber, Patreon prospector, go to those subscriber pages, either on the Diamonds Hub or Patreon Prospector. The link is in the announcements. Reach out to me if you can't access. The code is 2024, but I don't have the link off the top of my head. There'll be a link today at 11:30 and another link this afternoon at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'll open it up. If people show up, great. If not, I close it down. And again, it's the first Friday of every month, Diamonds Day. So that's my way of giving back and also celebrating the subscribers. My choice. Okay, let's go to. I feel like I want to go to the flower sentience deck for you. So this is the flower sentience, which means flowers and sentience. So I hope you like flowers, Kara. So nice deep breath. Set that intention. All right, so this is the card I picked for you today. This is the message. So here's the card. Okay, that's the purple and the yellow. The number is on the card is a 2 and 8. So the 2 is about being at peace with what's going on. 8 is what I talked about, manifesting business, bringing things that you want. But it's called a forget-me-not. So a lot of times when this card comes up, when the flower forget-me-not, this is also tied to a spiritual person that they're telling you forget-me-not, right? It kind of reminds me, have you ever seen the movie Coco? In the Mexican Spanish cultures, they actually go to the graveyards and they celebrate. But on the other side of the rainbow bridge, if you're not celebrated, you start to disappear on the other side. So it's a forget-me-not moment. But it says this: the story goes that when God was in the garden naming all the flowers, as all the flowers had been named, one little flower whispered, "Forget me not." And God said, "That shall be your name." So this darling little flower symbolizes remembrance at this time for you. You are not forgotten. Have courage. Find joy and faithfulness in your memories, and the memories flooding back just now can be very meaningful in dealing with current situations. So it's a forget-me-not moment, and a lot of times I find, Kara, that it's tied to a spirit person, that they're coming to tell you to keep going. You're not alone in this journey. Forget me not. And again, I don't know if you resonate with the colors of purple and yellow or the numbers 2 and 8. Again, this card represents so much. Forget me not, numerology, colors, vibration. So does that make sense? Forget me not. Somebody pop into your mind when you were thinking that? Because that's how they work, y'all. That's how they communicate. Kara says, sure does. Thank you so much. You're welcome. Hi, Maxine. Good to see you, my friend. So, Kara, does that make sense? Did that forget me not? Okay. See some hearts coming in. All right. So last call. Any other? If I missed your question, don't take it personally. Apologies. Or if my team is monitoring, thank you for helping me keep this community positive. If I missed a question, go ahead and copy, repaste it down, put bump with your question again, and then I'll get to you. And if not, then I'll shut this down and head over to the Zoom room for my subscribers if you want to participate with me for Q&A community on Diamonds Day. So, all right, I'll give it one more minute. I got about 20 minutes. I got to get a new cup of coffee before I jump in the Q&A community. You're welcome. Good to see you, my friend. Thanks for being a subscriber. And again, if y'all want to subscribe to my YouTube channel and join the 11,000 subscribers that for some reason over the last 2 months, my YouTube channel decided to blow up. I don't know why, but thank you. You can get that link at marklainhart.com right down here. Because the last week's show is airing on my Soul Adventures, and I'll be doing, as I move into my retirement after the surgery, I'll be doing more on my online YouTube, Patreon, some of my other apps that you can get. Good morning, Barbara. Noom Vibe. Gosh, what are some of the channels that I'm on? TikTok. What else? Instagram, Meetup, Clubhouse, Pinterest, Reddit, Alignable. So yeah, just going to be doing more things. And of course, working on my next book, contributing and finishing up some of my accreditations that I've been working on for the last 3 years for mediumship through the SNU, Spiritual National Union. So looking forward to that. And again, if you want to get my book, you can get that. This is called Reflections Between Worlds. And I talk about my account of how I came from, more of the logical, rational, first responder mindset of working in life and helping people to more of the spiritual aspects now and becoming a minister and a medium and working with people. So you can get that. That's through Best American Psychics, and I contribute. I'm a co-author to it. I think I wrote three or four chapters. I can't remember, but it's my first published book, and now I'm writing my memoir of how I got to this journey, how I became the intuitive prospector. So looking forward to more writing. So, all right. So I'm going to just jump back in. I don't see any other questions. Last call. And then again, if you want to join me as a subscriber for Patreon or Diamonds Hub, just note if you're on my Patreon subscribers page, if you're free to Patreon, you can join as a free member. But to get to the Q&A, you have to be a paid member. Whether they're $2.22 a month, $4.44 a month, $4.44, not $4.44. Everything is in numbers: 222-444-555-777-1111, right? So you have to be a paid member, I should say, for Patreon. Diamonds Hub, you're already a paid member, $4.99 a month as a subscriber. And again, you'll get the badge next to your name that shows your way. Good to see you, my friend. All right, any other questions? Well, thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Friday. Let me put the cards back here. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your Friday. Have a great weekend. Be patient with yourself because it is Mercury retrograde. So things may not work. If you're planning to sign a big contract, wait until later in the month. If you're traveling, make sure you give yourself enough time, enough patience, because a lot of things just don't seem to sync up. I know I got a podcast on Wednesday, the 10th, and I'm already anticipating we're going to have streaming issues, which, I've been on the air for 8 seasons, so I know when we're in retrograde. And then we also have that big eclipse on the 8th, which is the new moon. It's going to be a global event, so I hope that you spend time with the things that are important to you: family, friends, fur babies, food, life, shows, physical activities, what have you. And you're welcome. Happy to catch you as well, my friend Christina. All right, so no other questions. So let me pick a good song to take us out with. And what's a good little song? I think we'll go with Grateful. So we'll close with Grateful, because gratitude can really just change the mindset, change our world, change how we interact with one another. I'll be on the air Wednesday for another episode of Inspired Living, now streaming globally. Wherever you find your favorite podcast, you can find Inspired Living. Just look for my picture, look for the Intuitive Prospector. Thank you again for the listeners for putting us on the list now for top spiritual podcast and top inspirational podcast. Really appreciate it. We're going to have a fantastic guest on Wednesday. So you can always tune in live at Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern from any device around the world. There's no membership, no password. You can stream it through your phone, through your laptop, through your iPad, what have you. And if you miss the live show, then within 24 hours, it's streaming through all the major podcasting platforms: iTunes, Spotify, YouTube. So you'll probably want to check that out. So until our next soul adventure together. Hi, Andrea. Hi, Brandy. Good to see you. Thanks for joining, even though you caught the tail end. Until our next soul adventure together, be kind, be caring, be compassionate to one another. Spread a little lavender love, if you will. I'll see some of you over in the Zoom room for the subscribers. And as I always say, dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live. And I hope that you'll discover that diamond within. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Namaste.
Grateful for all the things I've seen. Grateful for all the Lord's blessing. Ain't gonna stop, no, ain't no how. Grateful, yeah, I'm grateful. Grateful, yeah, I'm grateful. Oh Lord. Grateful, yeah, I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I ain't got no reason to be hateful. Hair and nails paid for. I'm so thankful. Put you through some things I know that was quite painful. Grateful, yeah, I'm grateful, yeah, I'm grateful. Yeah, God gave me everything that I prayed for.
one planet, 7.3 billion people, only one you. Life offers us many opportunities and learning experiences. Are you ready to explore and discover this beautiful planet, the life and energy all around us, the spiritual world, and what is unseen, along with your own personal soul adventure? Marc Lainhart, the intuitive prospector, is the spiritual connection you have been prospecting for. Internationally known as a tested and professional clairvoyant medium and spiritual advisor, Marc's work as a metaphysical teacher, medical instructor, radio show host, inspirational writer, and hiking guide are here to help you on a journey of self-discovery, healing, inspiration, education, and a whole lot of spiritual awesomeness. Dare to dream. Dare to explore. Dare to live. For more information on Marc's spiritual practice in Seattle, Washington, please visit marclainhart.com or internet search The Intuitive Prospector.